Alrighty. Gail Powley, Technology Alberta President, thank you so much for joining us today. This is super awesome. I'm super excited. We had some conversation off camera. I can just see your passion and you're so enthusiastic about this Industry. Thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Oh, a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, I've been in the industry for 30 years as an engineer, as a manager, as a vice president, and now as a volunteer growing a community. And I have many, many volunteers from across the province joining me, and it's my pleasure to be here today.
Fantastic. Awesome. Technology Alberta, you guys have a huge, very talented team that works with you. Like I was just reading some of the bios. I mean, some of these people have done some amazing things. You want to talk a little bit about your team and just how awesome they are?
They're fantastic. They're so passionate. Yeah. And they're serial entrepreneurs that have run their own business or still are running businesses, but again, volunteer their time and insights and networks to help entrepreneurs as well as help the understanding of academia and government on what is needed for program and policies that can help. So as an example, Wayne Karpoff has volunteered in so many capacities. He's been a founder of the Banff Venture Forum. He's on the board of that, as well as in the past Tech Edmonton, and then also national boards like the ITAC, Information Technology Advisory Canada, I believe.
Acronyms.
Yeah, exactly. Evan Hu in Calgary, his counterpart. And so Platform Calgary's been chair of that, Innovate Calgary, as well as he's a serial entrepreneur. And both of them work with the universities in their cities, but it's not about any city. It's about the province. And that's why they're on a provincial initiative like Technology Alberta. Yeah. And so we have a diverse board to represent understanding from serial entrepreneurs and people who understand the ecosystem across the province and in their regions, but also in different sectors too. And then we also have, like Pushkar Rao is with Worley, global digital lead. Yeah. So, and a large company's experience on innovation and how they can be more innovative includes working with accelerators where they discover startup companies and new ideas, because that is a model for large companies. Yeah. It's hard for large companies to steer that ship quickly and innovate internally. There's certainly some internal innovation, but the startups can energize that, can really activate that. Yeah. And so they have strategic relationships with Plug and Play, and which is an accelerator that's now coming to Alberta through some great work from Alberta Innovates in actually working with the government in Alberta to get a small pot of money. Sometimes it seems large, but in the whole scheme of things, it wasn't very big, but they're doing big things with it. Yeah. And you may have heard of the 4 Alberta-wide accelerators, including this very cool, they're all cool accelerators, but
no favorites.
They are all great, but there's a community wellness accelerator that Ashif Mauji.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Over at Nate there.
He's leading.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and Upside Software was his company before he sold that, and he gave some money to Nate for the Entrepreneurship Center. Yeah. But he is a champion investor and entrepreneur, and he's leading the community wellness one. So, and the companies that apply to these accelerators have different themes, because you have different mentors, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And so Silicon Valley Accelerator associated with that one is The Alchemist. And clearly the topic is social wellness. And they're collaborating with community organizations to help solve social problems. Yes. And so there's one technology company, Arito Labs, that has recently been accepted in that accelerator, another Edmonton company, has anti-bullying software. They look on social media at some actually women politicians that were being targeted as they were running for candidacy, and so they monitor that and actually soften the tone of the conversation before things escalate. So
that's wild.
Pretty
and
cool.
That's all through AI, right? Or there's a big chunk of AI involved in that, right? Yeah. That's so crazy.
Two business entrepreneurs too. They aren't technical entrepreneurs; they're business entrepreneurs, and there's that's exciting to see. People who see a business problem and then they go and they understand technology can do great things. So let's talk to some more of those technology people, and
Yeah.
whether it's at the university or whether it's through community organizations or industry associations, like the meetups where you can meet people who understand technology and they understand the problem, and then you create a company. That's what
Exactly.
entrepreneurs do.
Hey, everybody started somewhere, and it usually wasn't in a 100-person company. It was 3-4 guys in the basement. I mean, look at everybody. Look at all the big ones. Apple, like all these guys. They started in a garage with 2-3 guys with a great idea and just wanted to change the world and do something good. And you talk about social, and I love that about so many of the conversations in the last, I think, year and a half, 2 years that we've been having, ESG, environment, social, and governance, and just how that in the technology world is it can be such a big thing, because everything we have today is technology. Everything, any solutions we need, we double back on technology. We have an environmental problem. We're looking at technology to solve that problem. And there's these little, companies, there's incubators that are helping that could be the answer to that someday. And that's super huge. So some of the programs you guys are offering, I know you guys do some select programs there. Can you talk a little bit about that over there?
Sure. So I'll say it all started with the recognition, almost like, Technology Alberta is like a startup in itself too. Or, you want to review an organization, re-energize. So I actually quit my day job as vice president of a tech company to do this full time because of such a need, right?
Yeah.
So I recognize that, again, communicating that there are so many tech companies in this province and so many jobs being created, but people may not see it because the companies are small.
Yeah.
So I started something that was called the AB Tech 100. And it was just to identify enough companies that were creating, that collectively they were creating 100 jobs that year.
Yeah.
I didn't know how many when we started, right?
Yeah.
Within 2 months, we're thinking, we already got 100 jobs, and it's 2 months. And so we called it the AB Tech 1000. So 1,000 jobs. So every month we feature 10 new companies in Edmonton, 10 in Calgary, and so on and so on. So it became AB Tech 1,000, AB Tech 2,000, AB Tech 3,000, AB Tech 4,000. So currently we're showcasing 40 companies a month, new companies a month,
Awesome.
that are actively hiring. Some of them are hiring 5 people this year. Some are hiring 100.
Yeah.
And not just tech people. They're hiring business people and arts people and finance people. So there's so many cool companies out there. And this is all free on our website and because of our volunteers.
Yeah.
And so you can search and you can find companies like Good Lawyer, and Drug Bank is hiring 6. And they use AI/ML to help clinicians. And there are companies like VisWorks, which are AR/VR, and Nano Precise, which is asset management, so devices on rotating equipment in refineries and such that recognize the pattern before it breaks down and causes an incident. And that's just happening in the research park in Edmonton at the Advanced Technology Center.
Yeah.
So
that's another underappreciated. Not so many people are aware of that research park.
They do need marketing.
Right? And I remember I talked to a company once and I was talking about the research park, and they were like, "Oh, where is that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's over on the south side there." And they said, "Oh, we're just up the road from there." I'm like, "Well, have you heard of this company here?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "I think you can throw a rock out your front door and hit their building. Like, how do you not know about you guys should actually be in the same boat together having a conversation, because you could help one another."
Well, you're exactly right.
And that's something that you talk about these small companies that can't get the recognition or the awareness built by them. I think a lot of people that start, technology companies, passion for an idea, that's what they're good at. They're good at that passion on the idea and creating the technology, but marketing and awareness of, who to network to and things like that, where organizations like yourself come in and help them with that. Yeah, like it's there's like that little cliche of they're the
hidden gem,
the hidden gems, right? Exactly,
it's right in front of you.
Exactly, right. So,
but you're absolutely right. In that building, the Advanced Technology Center is one of the front buildings
Yeah.
where there are 20 to 30 entrepreneurial companies in that building. And then the whole research park has
Yeah.
many more,
Oh.
right? Has amazing facilities,
Yeah.
including the Alberta Research Council in the back, which is now Innotech, and they can help entrepreneurs develop great things. But to that point, now there's a new business consortium to address that, because you're absolutely right. So it's called ERBBC, the Edmonton Research Park Business Consortium, and the leaders of that is a A100 entrepreneur, John Murphy, with BioStream and StreamML. So. And then Clinesys, which is a medical software company, and who Microsoft US has sought after as a partner.
Oh, wow.
And then also in telemedia with Ahmed Jawad, who educational software companies, and he works at school boards across the province, and has a big heart for First Nations, and we are working together with the university, and then after that pilot across the province on working with inclusive policies back to EDI and reaching out to populations across the province.
What do you think our biggest challenge is? I mean, like you're nailing it. Like, I mean, like you've been going here for 15, 20 minutes already. You're super passionate about this. And like you've nailed out like companies, like some of them I've heard of, some of them I haven't heard of. And it's amazing that I don't feel like we as a province champion these businesses enough and recognize that they're making big waves. It's like the Alberta curse is that we're too humble sometimes with some of these great achievements and these great organizations, companies doing great things. And I mean, we're talking technology. I mean, University of Alberta, I think it's still third highest rank in the world on artificial intelligence.
That's right.
Right?
It's pretty amazing.
That's unbelievable. And the amount of people that don't know that is unbelievable.
Disappointing.
Right?
Yeah.
The advancements in agricultural tech that are coming out of Alberta is phenomenal.
Olds College is really cool.
Right? Olds College is exploding like crazy. You know, you got Robert Sake here in the province out of Red Deer. You got some really, working with DOT. We got some really great innovations that are happening here that are going to touch the rest of the world. What's our biggest challenge on getting this information out there? Like, is it, we've talked about funding already. We've talked about red tape and policies. How do we get, where's the megaphone?
That's well said, because that's what it is. It's visibility. So it is amplifying the voice and talking in a way that the general public understands the value of this, where it's more than economic value, but it's the change it can make in the world. In fact, there's a company, I don't know if I can mention their name, but I'll get them in to talk later. But they just, through machine learning, they have proven that their medical platform can diagnose some forms of cancer early on. And that it's been patients in Alberta that have donated their data so that a cure could be found, or at least a diagnostic can be found. And so that has value locally and globally. And so medical technologies, medical devices, people seem to understand that more versus AI, ML, and abstract, right? It just seems it just doesn't seem as practical. It doesn't seem as can make a big difference.
Yeah. It has to apply to me.
That's right.
Personally. And that's tough to translate.
That's right.
In
and
some
for
cases.
Energy, it powers your car, right? It keeps the lights on, right?
Yeah.
There's some really interesting clean tech and environmental techs, absolutely. And so,
and health tech, like the health tech, even just in the last couple of years, the advancements that are happening behind the curtain with COVID being the thing that's shadowing everything. There's other areas and other fields that we've had some phenomenal breakthroughs in the last couple of years here in Alberta.
That's right. That's right.
And so it's important to recognize that.
Yeah. One thing is, so just like IT can be used across industries, right? But doesn't sound glamorous in itself, right? But it can be used for great things, right? And what no one would part with their phone now or with their laptop, right?
Kidding,
but as you can imagine, with medical records, quick access to medical records can save a life, right? So if we translate that, okay, so we have technologies that can save lives through the expertise we have at our universities in AI/ML and computer processing across the province.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. It actually sounds like, sure, I think we want to do that. And what's our differentiated value globally? And you already identified that our universities are leading universities.
Yeah.
And our people, our students want to learn these things. But it's really cool with the programs. You asked about our programs, and I started to talk about the First Jobs and Next Level Jobs programs, where we work with universities across the province, post-secondaries across the province, to connect them to these growing tech companies. And the growing tech companies are saying, we're hiring, where's the talent? We need the talent. And we don't have big HR departments. So that time and distance to connect the talent to the companies is an issue.
Yeah.
So Technology Alberta, with the help of originally Western Economic Development and now Government of Alberta, Advanced Education and Labor, now we are flow through giving the funds to these small and growing tech companies to take on a student. And as I mentioned, 25+% afterwards are being kept on by these companies. And sometimes they take on more than one. And these are students and new grads. And in business and in arts and in science and technology at all levels. And so thus our talent are getting jobs here and growing these companies. And in talking to the young students in the university, I ask what kind of companies they would like to work for. And they say ones that will make a social difference.
Right.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
In technology.
I want to double back a little bit on this topic because, and then we're going to get a little bit more into some of the retaining of that talent. So these programs that you're talking about, so it's next level careers and first jobs, right?
Right.
You just closed the round, I believe it was on next level. Or was that first jobs?
They're continuous intake for companies,
Okay.
And then for students, we do frame it around the university year.
Right. So then, how does that work? If I understood it correctly, they put in their applications to you guys, and then you're supplying that to your network.
That's right.
Bang on? Okay.
Working exactly. So we're working with all the post-secondaries, sharing the word that this is open, encourage your students to apply.
Right.
And we've had over 500 students each time apply for 50 positions with 50 different tech companies.
Yeah.
And so we have a portal of which the jobs are posted, the companies are posted. So the students apply, the companies decide what's the right fit for them. Yeah. We encourage the companies to put up one posting for, generally they like to come and get tech people. We encourage them to put one tech posting, one business posting. And generally what ends up afterwards is we have half business hires and half tech hires.
Gotcha.
And it was interesting also that that with this pool of 500 students, we recently, these are pilot programs, and we're working with government so that they understand what's working because they want to offer it. And they're working with other associations too, but across the province. And so we looked at the diversity of the students coming in. And I'll just talk on the gender basis. 30% women were applying, but of the companies hired themselves. Of course, we weren't involved other than just providing the job board. 50% women were hired. So the companies are choosing a more diverse workforce. Tech has a reputation of being majority male, but it doesn't. When you're creating companies fresh, open to fresh ideas, open to fresh ways, they are looking for all perspectives, right? Yeah. As they should. That's how you develop an innovative company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that those two programs that you guys are offering are really important to highlight in this conversation because that seems like, when we were talking earlier, it's the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues.
Access to talent.
Is access to talent and then retaining that talent, right? So you've talked about gender and how that's opened up, which is awesome. We're hearing that more and more and more all the time, which is fantastic. It's getting so much better. Now, what about foreign labor policies and bringing in and bringing in talent pools from outside?
Right. That was just announced, and maybe it was in another podcast too. But there's a new immigration pathway
Hmm.
that the tech companies had provided input to uh, a year or so ago, and
Hmm.
they're quite happy with what they see with the rollout. It was just announced,
Yeah.
so of course execution. We'll learn more there.
Yeah.
But that's very positive. Also, the universities through their graduate programs and even undergrad, they do have international students. And as that example with AI and ML being so strong at the University of Alberta, attracting students from around the world, where some of these students they have U of A as first choice and Stanford as second.
Hmm.
So world-class students coming here, and then through this program and other programs, we give them their first job, and then they stay here in Alberta, and we
Yeah.
have world-class talent.
Yeah.
And the Google DeepMinds, in fact,
Yeah. As well.
yes, Rich Sutton from Google DeepMind, amazing individual,
Yeah.
amazing researcher. And he was one of the people, as well as Osmar, another researcher, leading professor at U of A, when we were interviewing 100 entrepreneurs and champions from across the province on what's needed, they were saying this first job.
Yeah.
So we have
What
a
a wicked
steering
insight.
committee.
You must have got like some crazy information from that.
Outstanding,
I can
right?
imagine.
And they were right on the mark, right?
Yeah.
And again, when we first offered it, when COVID first started,
Yeah.
this program, we government year end is March 31st,
Yeah.
right? The funding for the program was received in November. We had to have the program marketed
Yeah.
and finished by March 31st.
Give her.
Yeah. So here it was, December 22nd, we launched it. But with all these champions, we
Yeah.
had close to 500 applications in 2 weeks.
That's
And the
wicked.
companies, we only had 50 slots. They were filled by the companies who
Yeah.
said, we want to help keep Alberta talent here, and we need them.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Was there anything else that really standed out from those surveys, like that maybe we haven't touched base on yet?
The value of staying here, absolutely. For the small companies, even though we gave them some money, if they were in the development, creating a cool technology, I
Yeah.
say cool,
Yeah.
cool and useful.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Funding is still an issue, right?
Right.
So the little bit of the $4,000 or $2,000 we were able to give each, they were looking for ways to keep them on full time.
Gotcha.
So, and there are other government programs that we could link them to. And there is the Jobs Now program that's now offered by the government of Alberta, which I believe covers 25%
Okay.
of a salary.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple other programs run out in the medical industry that are very similar to that as well,
Right.
where they're offering to cover, especially university
Right.
grads or first
Right.
jobs as
Right.
well. Waterloo does some stuff in Ontario and things like that too. So
I'll talk about leadership though, as
Yeah,
far
let's
as
do it.
insights. Well, and then before I finish on the First Jobs program, Deborah Gregg from Transformana, she's another amazing volunteer, and she has a library in her home, like it's an officially registered Alberta library.
oh wow.
And so her insights are incredible. And thus this is a big knowledge capture and sharing with community on what works for programs, what works for the companies, what works for the young professionals, what works for the university, what works to get the words out.
Yeah.
So this is a big investigation for greater benefit. But some of the things coming out are, well, there's a report to come. How about that? I hate to make a spoiler.
Stay tuned.
Yes. Anyways, important, but about leadership and about companies, and about showcasing the companies. So we showcase all 50 companies to all these graduates. So even though they may only have a job with one company, they get to hear every week from 5 companies at a time.
Yeah.
So that they see the great future here in Alberta, and in a survey where they come in saying, what's the likelihood you're going to be spending your career in Alberta or the next 5 years in Alberta? And then measuring that afterwards, and their outlook has been so much higher. And then they also have jobs almost immediately. So,
Right. Well, people want to see a future.
well,
They
that's
want to
right.
like if I'm going to do something or commit
Right.
so much time to research and
That's right.
whatnot, I want to be in it for the long haul. I
Well,
don't
that's
want
right.
this to be over in 2 years.
Well, and you know, you are right about visibility and the megaphone,
Mhm.
and so that's what we can all do. But as well as government, make these companies more visible. Often, you know, startups are risky, right?
Mhm.
You don't know if they're going to survive, but the fact you have thousands of
Yeah.
them, right? Some of them will survive,
Yeah.
and then if one doesn't, then there's another you can work at, right?
Mhm.
So it's okay,
Yeah.
right? And so these students know that this is a land of plenty, that there are many tech companies. So if one's not a fit, there's another and there's another. And that's where you go where there's a thriving community, a great ecosystem, good support. They're part of the community when they
Mhm.
come into the First Jobs program. And
Yeah.
in fact, we have alumni networks that are now across the province, graduates from the program. Last year, we took in 100 companies and 100 students from, you know, everywhere from U of A, U of C, NAIT, SAIT, Red Deer College. And these students are actually coming back and volunteering and helping, you know, in their schools,
Yeah.
recommending to other students to be part of this program, but also in a cohort basis, when we have 50 students the next time round, some of the experienced ones from last time are giving advice. And
It's a
in fact,
great culture. Great culture.
it is. And there's this one,
Yeah.
and she was a foreign student, and she had 100 LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right, we encourage everyone to develop their LinkedIn networks.
Absolutely.
That's a professional network.
Mhm.
That's how people can see you. That's how you can be visible.
Mhm.
So our advice to all the students is amp up your LinkedIn profile appropriately. But she had 100 connections when she started the program. When she got accepted by the company, she put intern, which she was,
Yeah.
right? So machine learning intern. By 10 weeks, when the program was over, she had over 350 LinkedIn connections, including some of them being the CEOs in the program that
Nice.
they all said, we're hiring
Yeah.
Lincoln with me. And she had 3 full-time job offers by the end of the program. So there's a demand for the talent that we
Yeah.
have in our universities, and in fact, and beyond that. So that's what the next step we need from government is to actually graduate more computing science talent, as well as more business talent that knows how to grow
Mhm.
small to medium-sized companies.
Mhm.
And then there's a product management talent that we need too, which is a blend of both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's one thing to, you know, sell this,
Yeah.
but there's another thing to sell a new technology where you need early adopter customers and that sort of thing. So
Right.
that's exciting, and that's a growing need. And we have volunteer groups that help in that, but we need more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how do we do more? So you're saying the government needs to graduate more of these qualified
Expand the
individuals.
computing science
Right.
departments.
So
Yeah.
it's growing more education programs, offering more, allowing universities to offer more, or help fund universities to
That's
offer
right. Fund more
more
professors.
professors and
Right.
things like that.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And also on the business side, where that
Yeah.
business and tech can come together.
Right.
And it is also more than technology commercialization, but it's how to run an SME.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there are a lot of business programs for an SME, a small to medium-sized enterprise.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of enterprise business programs
Yeah.
because we have very large companies here, and they're well served.
Mhm.
But to be that agile business, and what you need to have the small team that can scale,
Yeah.
that's needed in our
Gotcha.
business school.
In the technology sector, are there sectors you're seeing more attention being paid to? I mean, we've looked at like life sciences and ag, of course, AI, right? Clean tech, industrial. Is there anything that's like getting more attention, or is it kind of all balancing together?
There's some surprises.
Yeah.
And space and aerospace is a surprise.
Cool.
I never expected that, but I'm seeing
Yeah.
more and more of that.
Yeah. Wow.
And robotics.
Yeah.
Right. Robotics for all sorts of cool uses. Again, robotic arms,
Yeah.
as well as robotics in space, robotics in testing, robotics in environmental applications, where you're trying to measure contaminants.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the neat thing about robotics is it's not only software technologies, but it's manufacturing, right? And having manufacturing in Alberta is
I was going to touch on that. Like if there was a ceiling that some of these businesses might hit once they get to that. So you have your R&D, but then once you get to the manufacturing stage of some of this technology, and I mean, that might be outside of like where this conversation needs to be, but is there a ceiling that they're hitting that the government can start helping out with? And I would suspect it would be manufacturing.
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, there's some good funds out there, and not enough because when you get to a certain size, the $4,000 or $50,000, that just doesn't cut it anymore. And you do need more funding. And there are different ways to seek funding, but it is certainly Prairies Can Now has been very helpful, as well as some other national programs and provincial programs. But there's a lot of investors that are really stepping up. So through the accelerators, as well as through some different investment arms of government. But and then Sustainable Development Technology Canada is also a way to fund pilots or demonstration facilities. But yes, more manufacturing in Alberta could benefit from more investment in
Everybody
facilities.
wins on that one,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
If you were to direct investors or educate investors, whether they're angel or the variety of other ways of being invested, where would you say they should be looking to find, to get more involved in technology? Where, I mean, they can come to you guys, obviously, Technology Alberta, like, hey, like, come, we're over here, and we can point you in the right direction. Right. So I guess I kind of answered my own question there.
Well, and that's a good spot. And there are other organizations, and we collaborate with many. And in fact, the Rainforest is one of the organizations that we volunteer with. And Rainforest is a book which has that whole analogy of and it's creating the next Silicon Valley is what it's called. Rainforest, creating the next Silicon Valley. And it is about communities where you bring together investors, inventors, and entrepreneurs and community builders so that they're all in the same room at the same time. And they get to meet each other. And when you get to trust each other and have conversations, then you can actually get advice from each other. And even an investor who has never invested in tech versus an investor who's just started says, oh, well, look at that. And we got something cool. And we're pooling money together. It doesn't have to be individual investing anymore. It can be a smart pool. So Sprout Fund is a cool local investor fund where they pool together dollars for $1 million to invest in small local Alberta companies. Mark Benning is one of the champions there, who is, I don't know if you know of Mark.
I've seen some articles about him and stuff like that.
He's very cool, and his nephew's an Oiler.
Yeah.
And Mark himself, I think he had a hockey scholarship getting him over to whether it was MIT or Harvard, because he has degrees from both. But he's here now as an investor, together with another of other wonderful people like Shahil Huda and more, who have pulled together that Sprout Fund for $1 million. They're just closing their next round, which I believe is $10 million. So there's an opportunity, I believe, to still get into that.
Yeah.
And then they review local companies and decide what to fund. And they have a portfolio, and they do look for diversity in local companies to help grow.
Yeah.
So that's just one of several funds.
The stuff you hear about in movies, and it's right in our backyard.
It is.
And we just gotta know about it.
And you can step in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really neat. Wow.
Yeah. We do have a newsletter. So
there you go.
And it's free.
Yeah.
And so I'll be sure to include something on Sprout Fund in the future.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Technology Alberta, go and check that out. Man, Gail, this was like a wealth of knowledge. This was so awesome. Is there anything you want to end on? You covered a lot.
Yes. Well, just to focus everyone, I will say it is really important that we graduate more people from our universities because these companies are hiring and they're eventually, and they are running out of local people to hire. So if we educate more, if we have more seats in the computer science department and business departments in our universities, then they will get more jobs here in Alberta. Um, and the also, I would say that not only support investment in getting more professors in computer science and business departments, but also recognize that the tech sector offers opportunities for everyone, like not only in the big cities, but in the rural communities too, because we are all working remotely. And there's an appetite for growing the entire province, not just two major cities.
Yeah.
So tech is an all play everywhere in Alberta, as well as whether you have art talent or business talent. Storytellers, no surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Storytellers is one of the biggest needs for the companies. But how to help, just like how to help your local independent coffee shop, how to help your growing tech company, is being an early adopter. You may work for a large company that you need a solution. Instead of always choosing the big solutions that's tried and true, see if you can be innovative. See if you can give that innovative, growing tech company an opportunity. There are ways that can be part of the solution. So be an early adopter.
Yeah.
Early adopter mindset. That's what we need in companies in this province and individuals.
And it helps those companies grow. I don't mean to cut you off, but it helps those companies grow because we, even us with in our business, we adopted some local companies and their technology solutions. And they made us a super user of their program.
Ta-da.
And then all of a sudden we started pointing out things like, hey, this is doing this or that's not doing that or whatever. And then they're going, oh, we never thought that our program could be adapted to do that.
That's right. You gave a different perspective.
Yeah. So then they said, well, you just did it. It just needs a little tweak. Yeah, absolutely. So they tweaked it. And now we can offer our clients something better because we worked with somebody to build something. And that they never thought of.
That's
and
right.
then I kid you not, every 3 months we're going to them with notes saying, can we do this? Can we try that? Can we do this? And they're going, man, we're growing our program. It's being funded to grow because we work with our clients that they need something. We say, okay, yeah, we can build that for you. It's going to cost this much. But now the program that we're using is growing at the same time because we're funding the development of it. And that is a huge collaboration piece that
it is.
I never think about. Because
important.
I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for, I found a problem that needs a solution.
That's right.
Let's work together to create that solution. Right. Here we go. And then we move on. And then at the end of it, you look back and go, man, look what we built. And we just did it piece by piece. And we weren't really focusing on this big granular thing. We were just focusing on one problem at a time. But then when you took all the solutions we created, we now have this. And that's huge.
And they win in so many ways. So you win as a customer. They win as a company.
And my customers win. It's great. It just grows.
That's right. And if that's the culture, if that's what Alberta is known for, by being an early adopter customer and innovating with the service provider, and their business is improving too.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to not only attract innovators in Alberta and grow our local innovators, but we're going to keep them here.
Yes.
Because that's what happens is if there are no customers here and they run out of talent, what's going to keep them here, right? Let's keep them here because we are embracing innovation, right? So let's do that together.
And we can come up with some cool ideas. Our province is so known for its entrepreneurial mindset and problem solving, and we are creative. We're smart.
Absolutely.
We're super smart. And it's we just gotta like you said, just harness it.
Absolutely. So companies can join Technology Alberta and other organizations by giving their time and kind. They could mentor young entrepreneurs, again, these wonderful, outstanding graduates or to-be graduates from universities on how to contribute to the future.
And it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street.
You go and donate your time, and you never know what you're going to learn, walking in there. I learn something every time I talk to a university student because they're they're up to date.
And what they learned is someone cares.
Yes.
Right? And someone cares beyond money. And that is no longer a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future.
Yeah.
And you're building community together.
Yeah.
And it takes a community to build a tech sector
There you go.
and to keep our people here. So let's do that.
Excellent. Right on. Gail, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today and giving us all this information. For everyone who's watching and listening, go and check out Technology Alberta. Their website is a wealth of knowledge, and get involved. Reach out. All of your guys' contact info is available there.
Absolutely.
And find out more about the next level careers and first jobs. You heard it here. Those are some pretty wicked programs that are hugely beneficial to young and up and comers, and even to the existing, that need those young.
That's right. Right. So let your innovative tech company know that we can help them find talent and raise their visibility. And let's all raise their visibility.
Exactly.
We need to spread the word.
Bang
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you.
What that's called?